Good morning and welcome back to Ginger's Kitchen. Well, today I'm going to do a rice recipe. Now, this is my standard recipe, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to bake it in the oven instead of doing it on top of the stove. I have to tell you, I don't know whether it was because it roasted instead of cooked on top of the stove. My rice is always good, but this came out, I think, much better. I like the texture and the taste of the carrots much more. That shouldn't surprise me because I like my carrots either done in the electric frying pan or in the oven because they caramelize. So this came out much better than even I anticipated. So first I used 1.5 cups of jasmine rice and I put it in the bottom of my baking dish. And to that I added some cubes of cheddar cheese. I should mention that I sprayed the baking dish with a nonstick spray. Now, once I had all that evenly distributed in the bottom, then I started to grate some carrots. Now, I grated 2 really good sized carrots. It may look like a lot of carrots and the rice came out pretty orange, but I liked the flavor that they added. So that's 2 really good size carrots and shredded, kind of long shreds. Now, my first thought was to also grate or shred the onion, but that takes all the juice and the flavor out of it. So I just chopped it very finely so that everything cooked together at the same time. I've said to you many times, I'm not a professional chef, so don't copy my chopping skills. I also grated some celery, 2 stalks, 2 small stalks, and they were the hearts of celery. And I peeled the celery first to get rid of some of the strings before I grated it. Now I used 1/3 of a large onion. If it was a small onion, I probably would have used 1/2. And the reason being, I'm adding some seasoning that has some onion powder in it later on, so I didn't need a lot of the onion. So after attempting to get everything kind of evenly distributed in the bottom of the baking dish, then I added my seasoning. Now this seasoning has onion powder, garlic powder, and dried dill. Then I mixed 2.5 cups of chicken stock with a cup of water. So I had 3.5 cups of liquid, and I poured that all over the top. Now I know that usually if you have 1.5 cups of rice, you would do 3 cups of liquid, but there's other vegetables in here that are going to take up the carrots are going to take up some of the moisture. And in the end, it was a perfect amount. It wasn't too dry. If it needed longer in the oven, I would have even needed a little bit more moisture, but it ended up coming out perfect. It wasn't too dry, wasn't too wet. As you can see, everything was submerged in the liquid. It was covered with liquid. Now I put it in a 375-degree oven for 25 minutes, and I put a timer on for 25 minutes because I wanted to stir it. Then I took it out of the oven and I stirred it, and I put it back in for an additional 15 minutes, as you can see on my timers. Now mine was in a few minutes more than that, maybe like 3 minutes more because other things had to get done, but that's basically the time that it cooked. And as I always say, ovens vary, so you're going to have to just test your rice and make sure it's fully cooked. Because this rice dish reminds me of my husband Joe, I'm going to end with reading his favorite scripture, 1 Corinthians 10:32 and 33. Give none offense, neither to the Jews, nor to the Gentiles, nor to the church of God, even as I pleased all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but for the profit of many, that they may be saved. Thank you for watching, and until next time.